Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the City of Rochester's regular City Council meeting for July 24th, 2017. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Dalton.
Here.
Russell.
Here.
Vixen.
Here.
Cuthbertson.
Here.
Giovanelli. Peterson.
Here.
Ray.
Here.
Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody, this evening. Public comment. We have no scheduled items, so I welcome anybody to please come forward on anything that is not on the agenda.
Good evening, Jane Turner, Parkdale, Rochester. I know it's only been 2 weeks since I was here the last time, and I was asking if we were going to use Notify Me for public announcements or public notices, and is that going to happen?
Mr. City Manager.
It is. So I've already talked with our local reporters, and we've set up our the capacity on our website. So it'll be shortly on there, along with maybe preempt. You may have seen the alerts when our TV has been out too. We've had 1 or 2 occasions that that's happened, and you can already sign up for that component too for the TV broadcasts if we have technical difficulties to be notified when that is.
Okay, well, this was in the Rochester Post, July 20th, 2017.
Okay.
And it's for the July Board of Review for the meeting held on July 18th. Oops.
Well, we'll check with the paper.
Thank you. Anything else this evening?
A couple things. I went over the check register, and can somebody explain what kind of work Anderson and Eckerstein is doing for $120,000?
There are engineers, so we're working on several large projects right now, from our sewer projects, for our infrastructure, for our water mains, as well as several other projects. Mike just went up. Several other projects.
Okay, and that was all included in the budget, and they're coming in
Correct.
at the estimated cost?
Well, we go through each of our projects and to see the engineering firm is checking over a lot of the work of our other bidders who come in. So later on in our agenda, you'll see there's some projects regarding our sewers. They are one of the 2 engineering firms that are actually checking to ensure that the work is done within the budget.
Anything else, Jane?
Yeah, I noticed, I'm not going to be available for your next meeting, but I saw on the city manager's comments for the next meeting about speaker's request form. When I moved back to Rochester for a brief stint in Clinton Township, there were 3 major things that I moved back for. Number 1, it was my home. Number 2 was the water at a reasonable rate. Well, that's sort of out. The water's still good, but the reasonable rates are gone. And the participating government. The only thing when I read through this that the city of Rochester Hills has different than we have is this request form. Now, there's 60,000 people more than the city of Rochester. There's only a few of us that come up here each time, and not every time, to express our things, our concerns. So the only thing I could see is that this form is going to cause more paperwork, more hassle, and are you hoping that, are you considering this because you're not going to let a certain person participate? Or, I mean, if they hand in the request form, you have to listen to them, right?
Yeah, it's just part of a general discussion on public comment. That is all it is.
Okay, well,
That's all.
I'm not
I
in
appreciate
favor of
it.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you. I hope I stuck to my 3 minutes.
Thank you. You don't have it, but thank you. Anybody else miscellaneous public comment? Please, Mr. Zoe, come forward.
Good evening, Steve Zook, 1639 Stony Creek Drive. Welcome. It's nice to see all of you guys again. I missed a couple meetings. I've been under the weather a little. I have the usual, and as Jane was just talking about, the 3 minutes to talk. Well, we could get away a lot of that if I wouldn't have to ask about the same thing year after year after year. I'm on my fifth year here now on the same subject, and it's the other guy. Well, Blaine, you're under the light tonight because you're the guy this year. 10 weeks ago, a blight complaint was filed on your C-Click fix. 2 days later, they sent the letter. Now, 10 weeks passed, still the same.
Well, I'll have to check on that specific blight request. I know we do get requests that are not in the city, and
This is in the city.
Okay.
I've followed up on it, and it's the same old.
Okay.
So,
Well,
you know,
if you could provide me either with the address
I can
and I
do
can
all
give
of
it,
that.
yeah,
I
I'd
just
be
didn't
happy
wanna-
to.
I just
Sure,
don't want
no,
to do it on television.
sure, no, I'd be happy to work
Yeah,
offline with you.
Yep. The same thing with signs. Signs are on the public property all over the place. And we have police department, fire department, city employees, everybody driving up and down these streets, and they all see these illegal signs. Why don't they get out and pick them up? At the cost of what a sign costs the person to put it up, at $25, $30, after they lose a half a dozen of them, maybe they'll quit doing it. Because what we're doing now is not working. The city is full, especially Letica. I mean, we have RARA with a bunch of ones. We have OPC with ones that shouldn't be there. And we know what the law is, and they still put up bigger banners than our usual. So Jane spoke last week about saying getting rid of the sign law. Maybe we should. Maybe we should go over all of the ordinances that we cannot or will not enforce because we're not doing our job. You come down here on Friday night at 6 o'clock and walk down past the parking meters and come back at 8 o'clock. The same ones that are not paid for are still sitting there and there's nothing on the window. So everybody knows that after 6 o'clock, there's no ordinance officer, don't put money in the meter. And you guys are trying to make payments. And as I said, I've been sick a little bit, so I've been sitting at the computer, and I've been looking throughout the whole country to find one city similar size to ours that has taken a challenge of a $100 million debt. There is not one other city in the country that's doing this. So I think we should be a little bit cautious on where we're going. There's no place where 13,000 people are getting put in a position where they're going to be having to spend $100 million on infrastructure. It just doesn't exist. And I asked a question last time, how can 13,000 people support $100 million when 500,000 in Fraser and the surrounding suburbs can't make $72 million? How are we going to pay for this? And it just goes on deaf ears. And I had a lot of time to travel, and we've gone through a lot of small towns. And the people we traveled with came from out of the state, and we brought them here the first evening. We went to all of these little cities around the way, St. Joseph, Saugatuck, everything up and all the way around. They came back and they said, the one thing that we noticed about Rochester, it's not clean. If you look at Rochester, all the wood around the windows, not painted. Every sill you go to sit on is dirty or peeling. Where the buildings meet the sidewalk street is all peeled and chipped. Just looks unkept. Maybe DDA, instead of buying all of the goodies that they want to buy, should give each merchant a can of paint and let them spend Saturday touching up their thing and making the city look like it should be. If we're Main Street first, we should be Main Street first. But, you guys walk the streets, you see. There's no need for it. So.
As a side note, I'll just let you know that DDA Site Development is doing their yearly tour, and I will pass that information along to them.
Yeah. Okay, and one other question. Has anybody still, after 2 years of questioning, done an inventory on where all our planters are?
We?
Do you know where they're at? How many did we lose? Because we don't have half as many as we used to.
To save money, so we didn't plant some.
Okay. Okay.
You're right, we took over half.
Yes.
Anything else, Mr. Zelk?
No, I will adjourn now, and I thank you, and I don't agree with the 3-minute time limit unless you have a large group of people. If there's a group there, it's reasonable, but the OPC has the 3-minute time limit, and they play really big games with it and make it very difficult to get a point across, because they will take and respond with you and include that in the 3 minutes. So you'll start, and they'll ask you a question and respond for 2 minutes, and then you don't
Part
get
of
to
your
finish.
time. Okay, thank you.
Can I?
Absolutely.
Yeah, Mr. Zook, I will just say that I have to push back a little bit on that. Since I've been the board chairman at OPC, I don't think we've, at one time, I've enforced the 3-minute rule, so that hasn't been like that in years and years.
It was so bad I quit going, so I don't know what was on there now.
Well, you can come back now. I think it's better. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Vixen. Any other miscellaneous public comment this evening?
Just one thing. Public comment's really supposed to be public comment, not public debate. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other miscellaneous public comment? Then we'll go ahead and go along. Thank you. Next, we have approval of the minutes. Consideration of the minutes of the regular meeting of July 10th, 2017. Do I have a motion to approve or any corrections, please?
Make a motion to approve.
Councilmember Peterson, approved. Do I have support?
Support.
Support by Councilmember Ray. Do I have any Councilmember Cuthbertson?
Pardon me, my computer has decided to restart and update, but I recall with respect to the Letica Road, thank you, the Letica Road agreement with Oakland County, that the amount was missing a zero. It's not 14,
Yeah.
it's the last page. It's 14,400, not 1440.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other adjustments or corrections?
Just,
Yes.
Madam Mayor, I just wanted to know, are we supposed to put a time after when people leave? Didn't know if that was protocol.
Madam Clerk?
I did notice that, but I didn't catch it at that, when
Okay.
the times that he was, I just knew the
That you
frame,
stepped
time
down.
frame.
Okay,
That's
thank
okay.
you. Madam Clerk, the roll. Thank you.
Dalden?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
Cuthbertson?
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes.
Ray?
Yes.
Approval of the consent agenda. I have 7 items this evening. Consideration of a special event application from the Angels of Hope for a 5K run walk on October 14th in the municipal park. Consideration of a special event application from Advocate to hold Advocate Run Walk on August 5th. Consideration of a special event application from St. Andrew's Church to hold the annual church family picnic on September 17th, 2017 on the parish grounds. Item D, consideration of a special event application to hold Rochester Homecoming Bicentennial Event on August 12th in the municipal park. E, consideration of a special event application from the Rochester Movie Theater Group to hold Dawn of the Dogman Film Frenzy on September 30th in the parking lot off South Street near Diversion. Item F, consideration of a request to implement a residential parking permit zone on Oak Street between University and 4th Street, and consideration of a request from Verizon to approve a Metro Act application of bilateral row permit to use public right-of-way to install fiber optic facilities. Council?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
May we remove G and G and F?
And move to approve the rest of the consent?
I have a,
Okay, would you like to remove?
I just have a comment, so I guess I should remove it. It's the Advocate Run Walk.
Okay, so I will remove B, F, and G. Do I have a motion to approve A, C, D, and E?
So moved.
Sup- Councilmember Ray, support by Councilmember Peterson. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Dalden?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
Cuthbertson?
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes.
Ray?
Yes.
First, we'll go with B. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, I'm very in supportive of the St. Jude's walk for brain tumor research. But I do have a question on the parking because it said there's an estimation of 500 plus attending. That says we use current parking as is. And I'm not sure what that was that part of the park? I just want to make sure that because it says they're working with the chief, so I'm sure that you have that all under control, but the 500 people's, that's a significant amount.
Chief, please.
Thank you. This is a long-term event. Parking has always been handled around the City Hall and in Lot 10, the major lot for the park itself. They're out by noon, 1 o'clock, so parking has never been an issue as far as being able to find a place to park, and we've never received any complaints about people not being able to use the park or park because of the event.
Okay, very good, thank
Mhm.
you. So I move to approve.
Move to approve item B.
Support.
Support by Councilmember Peterson. Discussion, Madam Clerk, the roll.
Dalton,
Yes.
Russell,
Yes.
Vixen,
Yes.
Cuthbertson,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Councilmember Peterson, you'd like F?
Yes.
Okay.
F. After reviewing all of this, my only question and concern would be is, have we actually looked to see if there are any other streets in the area that actually would probably benefit from doing this as well, so we can reach out
Go
and
ahead.
do that?
I will say from my knowledge, we've waited till the residents have come forward with the petition. That's how we've done the past streets. Is that safe?
That's correct. Anytime we've tried to do any kind of parking regulations, we try to do that on behalf of the residents that would be affected. I know of only one other section that has been considering it, and frankly, they have not turned in any petitions, but we would certainly act on it if we did receive it. So, but as of now, this was the only area that has come forward and I guess done their homework to help us understand that the residents that would be affected want it and would benefit from it.
Okay, not a problem. I just, I appreciate them taking the time to do that. I just wanted to know if, we needed to assist, but if you have it working that way, then I guess it's up to them, and I respect that.
Yeah, thank you.
So, and item, would you like to move these two together then?
We can do that. That would
Okay.
be fine.
Item
and then-
G?
Yeah, G. My concern was I didn't know who to actually, really ask, administration or, DPW, so I'll start with administration and the attorney. It just seemed like there was some concerns regarding having this take place, so I wanted to know if we have anything moving forward to, worry about with what this was going to entail and the stretch of everything.
Mr. City Attorney?
There is some concern, but not unlike any other Metro Act permit. There's no concerns unique to this particular one. But when the application does come in, it is reviewed for completeness. This is not to get into a long discussion as to the Metro Act, but
Right.
there are certain forms that have already been vetted, approved, and if it's complete, the city would be hard pressed to deny it. We did go through and actually sent it back because of lack of information. Director Fieldrecki and I worked through that with them. They submitted and gave as much information as they can at this point. There will be a requirement for them to contact the city when they are doing this to make sure that there's no issues with the right-of-way, actually what's in there now. So and that was the biggest issue that was raised and pushed back to them is, well, where they don't have any, this particular entity doesn't have any lines currently in the right-of-ways. So they don't have the final details yet, but they've committed to work with the city and make sure there's no conflicts.
Okay, and I guess my concern was, it looked like it was a colored map, and mine was printed, so I wasn't sure of the exact trail that was supposed to go through. So I just wanted to make sure, the reason for asking is I wanted to make sure that any upcoming construction that we're having, that it's not interfering with any of that or being done afterwards if it's being any underground of anything.
Madam Mayor, if I may, those are great concerns raised, because that's exactly what the director, her concern was, first and foremost. A number of the locations that, you're right, doesn't show up well on a black and white, but, either aren't the city of Rochester right-of-ways to begin with, and we pointed those out to them and pointed out that whether it be a county roadway or otherwise. But that is always the concern of, working with someone is, are they going to have conflicts with what's already there or upcoming projects? So we're hoping that the director is going to have that success with them. So
Okay, so Director Filarecki will be working with them throughout that whole process.
yes, in our letter back, that's our hope.
Okay.
we can never guarantee what they're going to do, but that is they do have to pull permits, and I see Director Filarecki coming up, so
Okay.
she has more of a hands-on
Okay.
experience in
evening.
that.
So the standard process with this is that they get their permit first to come in and work within the city. Once they get that, then they have to submit their engineering drawings that'll identify where they plan to put their main, whether it's above grade or below grade. We can look at that for conflicts and let them know where the problems are and send them back to the drawing board if they need to. We cannot guarantee that their construction isn't going to conflict with ours because we don't have control over their construction start date, just approval of their plans. My understanding is they plan on still trying to do this fall and winter, which may be prior to us coming in and doing any of our open cut work for the SRF. But it would be done simultaneous to our manhole rehab and our sewer lining. But we shouldn't be in conflict.
Okay, awesome, thank you so much.
Ms. Turner, did you have a question about this? Did you had your hand up?
Yeah, I did. Thank you. Quick question. That map was hard to read. And I got the impression that it was all aerial cable going in on existing poles. Are we talking below grade along Parkdale?
Well, I'll let them answer your question. Thank you.
One of the inquiries that we made when we sent the plans back the first time was for them to identify above ground versus below ground. They're not at a point where they can do that as of yet. So they need to get their permit approved first, and then they'll start looking at design. We'll probably send them some of our as-built drawings to show them where we have utilities in the way. We did let them know that they're going to have some conflicts if they try going below grade during or along University and even Parkdale. So they're aware of it, but they'll have to work around it.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Councilmember Peterson.
I'll make a motion to approve F and G.
A motion by Councilmember Peterson, support by the Mayor Pro Tem. Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Dalton.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Vixen.
Yes.
Cuthbertson.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Ray.
Yes.
Public hearings, we have none this evening. Next, we have legislative deliberation. Consideration of a request to set a public hearing regarding an ordinance to amend Article 21, Supplementary District Regulations, Section 2129, medical marijuana uses, to delete all provisions and add additional language. Do I have a motion to set the public hearing?
So moved. Support.
I have motion by Peterson, support by Ray.
Jinx. I think that's the way that works.
Any discussion on the motion?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Yes.
I know there's a lot of discussion right now at the state level regarding the medical marijuana use, so are we comfortable, Mr. Attorney, to move forward with all your changes with what's going on at the state right now?
Yes, Mr. City Attorney.
The discussions at the state and the recently enacted legislation back in December is the very reason we're doing this.
Okay, all right.
It is to help ensure the city's intent is carried out.
Well, the Michigan Municipal League had put out another piece of publication, so I wanted to make sure that that was all in there.
Mr. Zoc, please come forward before I take the vote.
Just a question. Could Councilperson Peterson please turn on her microphone?
It is on.
You have to go.
Can't hear you at all.
It's green.
You have to go up to the mic.
Hello? Yes. So sorry.
Thank you. Are we ready to take the vote? Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Dalton.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Vixen.
Yes.
Cuthbertson.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Ray.
Yes.
Okay, consideration of a resolution to award the contract for manhole rehabilitation to VIL Construction Incorporated. Mr. City Manager.
Yeah, I'm actually going to have our director from Public Works come up as I kind of tee this up.
Perfect.
The next three items, so this first one, 8B, 8C, and 8D are all in regards to our ongoing SRF project, which is the sewer component. So you'll see the manhole was the first one under B. There's some sanitary sewer replacement is C, and then there's some lining and grouting and some other stuff in D. I don't want to steal your thunder, so I think that's where I'll stop.
Welcome.
Bids were opened approximately 2 weeks ago. We had set out 3 separate contracts in accordance with the SRF project plan. The lining and grouting of the sanitary sewer, which is all going to be done underground with the exception of a couple of pits here and there. The second phase of that is the manhole repair and rehabilitation to reduce our infiltration and inflow into the sewer system. And then the third, we have, I think, 6 areas where we're going to do complete replacements, where the sewers have degraded enough that we actually have to remove the old sewer to put a new one in. The lining wouldn't give us enough strength. So all 3 bids were processed. We had bids come in from multiple contractors on each one of the bids. And what you have in front of you this evening are the individual contractors that would be assigned to each of those projects.
So I will go ahead and take item B as first for questions. Mayor Pro Tem.
And I guess my question wraps all 3 of them. With the change order, we put $6 million in for this project. The bids are around $3 million, and I know that with this work, there's a lot of things that can go on. And of course, we want to be as fiscally responsible as possible. So could you address those 2 areas?
Sure. Design and engineering, there's design and construction engineering fees, legal fees, bond counsel fees, and the bid advertisement all roll up about $1 million worth of that $6 million budget that we had for the SRF. We had anticipated a construction estimate cost of about $4,726,000. But while we were going through the bid process, we did identify that one of the projects that was in the SRF project plan is actually on private property. And so during the bid process, we ended up pulling that out, which would have further reduced the cost. We also converted one of them from an open cut replacement project to a lining project, which saves some money as well. We have a developer coming in along Castell and Harding area. They want to make a connection to the sewer, so he's going to be making that repair to the sanitary sewer. We'll be working with him to take care of that out of our capital budget, and then we'll be lining that sewer rather than doing the open cut in there ourselves. So that also reduced the construction price. So bids came in. We were anticipating construction cost of $4,726,000. Bids came in at $2,949,823. So that's about $1.7 million below what we had anticipated. That's really good. We always like to be, the high bidder, not the low bidder. So the anticipation is that we will have change orders on the project, as we do with any underground project, especially in a city where our utilities are in excess of 100 years old. We can control what we have, water, sanitary, and storm, but we don't have background information all the time on things like gas, electric, fiber optic cables. We struggle to get good as-built on our drawings. They're even worse. So we do anticipate that there will be some change orders, but as we uncover things and in our open cuts, we'll be taking a look at what those issues are, determine whether or not that's something that the contractor should have anticipated. If it is, then it will not be a change order. It's not anything that we will pay for. But if we open it up and find out that the extent that needs to be repaired is in excess of what we had originally anticipated, those things would be change orders. We would sit down and negotiate that with the contractors based on their unit price bids.
Yes, please.
So my understanding is that you're going to be overseeing this, and I hope it doesn't go over $6 million. And so the change order, my understanding is then you'll take care of that, but if it does go over, then it comes back to us.
If it goes over the $6 million, it will come back to you, and I won't have a job anymore.
Okay.
We really
I didn't
should
say
not.
that. I did not say that. Everybody out there.
We really should not be exceeding the $6 million point. However, if we look at this, we do have some wiggle room, and if we find there are other areas that are in dire need, we may be able to negotiate with the DEQ to increase the scope of the project and maybe add another stretch of main that we had wanted to get done but couldn't because of budgeting issues. So those will be things that we take a look at, but yes, my goal is to keep it below the $6 million.
Any other Councilmember Cuthbertson?
Yes, with respect to VIL construction, I have some reservations about awarding the firm work in the city of Rochester. During my tenure on city council, I can think of at least 2 projects that have failed and or created litigation matters for the city, one of which was near Crittenton Hospital related to some detention facilities not being constructed properly and to spec, and I can tell you firsthand with respect to Sycamore Street, that we have done engineering studies and core samples which demonstrate that materials were not installed, or the materials involved were not to spec, nor were they compacted to spec, and the road is, or at least the curb areas away from the crown are failing. Manholes are sinking wherever there's laterals going across for water tie-ins. There are dips in the road. It's just, it's not acceptable work. And so I have gross reservations awarding it to VIL, though they are the low bidder.
The city does have the option. You, as the council, do have the option to accept or reject the recommendations of the city's engineering firms. If we have past history with VIL, please forgive me, not quite familiar with those, but it is something that you can consider, and you can choose to award the bid elsewhere, or we can pull that one and have some discussions and see where you want to go with that and bring it back to the next council meeting.
I'd like to make a motion to do that then, because I'd like to see the research before any more discussion. I think that would be most helpful.
So your motion is to pull item B for a future council, for the next council meeting with
I
some
want-
more,
if
or
it-
you like to table it? It would probably be best to table it.
Or postpone.
I think I need to
Can't-
table. I have to table.
Postpone to a different meeting, do you think you would ask Shannon when she would want to bring it
I would
back?
think you would need it on the next meeting, because this
Yes.
is something that we have to have resolved with the state in order to close on our bond.
So the motion would be to postpone to the next meeting.
Correct.
Okay. Postpone to the next meeting. So I have a motion by Councilmember Peterson. Do I have support?
Support.
Support by Councilmember Cuthbertson. Any discussion on the motion?
No, I just want to make sure. So is that going to put anything behind Director Filareki?
I'm going to have to check with
Okay.
AEW on that one.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Belden?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Vixen?
Yes.
Cuthbertson?
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes.
Ray?
Yes.
So we'll move to item C. Any discussion on item C and that award?
Hold on a second.
Yes. Mayor Pro Tem.
So none of these contractors all bid, because I don't see CI contracting on the second bid. I don't know if I saw them on the first.
No.
It's on the first, it's on the
The
second.
reason that the bids were broken up into 3 different contracts is because it's 3 different types of work. It would have been great to get one general contractor who was willing to bid on all 3 and was the low bidder for all 3, but
It didn't work out.
the lining is more of a specialty that we don't see all contractors handle. Open cut is different than doing just the manhole repairs, so.
I guess one of my questions was if we could get all the contractors doing all the work, would it save any additional? But it sounds like you already answered my question.
Yeah. I would have loved to have 3. It's a lot easier to work with, but
Okay.
So do I have a motion to award the contract for the sanitary sewer replacement to CI
So moved.
Contracting? Motion by the Mayor Pro Tem. Support?
I'll second it. I have a
Okay.
question.
Yes. Matt?
Yes. Do we have any guarantees on any of the work that's going to be done? Are they guaranteeing their work or anything like that, or are they just coming in to do this?
they're coming in to do repairs on the existing system that we have.
Okay,
There will be a maintenance and guarantee bond
okay,
that's attached to the project.
okay,
And then we'll double check the work prior to the expiration of that maintenance and guarantee bond and have them make any retrofits necessary before we close out the bond.
Now, how long are those bonds usually for? then?
1 to 3 years,
1 to 3.
dependent on the project.
Okay, can you report back then, once you do that, so we know that, everything passes and everything's good and how much time would be left? Okay. Then
Okay, so, any other discussion or questions? Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Belden?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Vixen?
Yes.
Cuthbertson?
Yes.
Peterson?
yes,
Ray?
Yes.
Next is item D, consideration of a resolution to award the contract for sanitary sewer lining and grouting to Liquid Force.
make a
Any,
motion to approve.
motion by Councilmember Peterson. Do I have a second on the motion?
Support.
Support by the Mayor Pro Tem. Any questions on this, Councilmember Peterson?
Yeah, Madam Mayor. So that, for all 3 of these, that applies, all the bonds, all that, okay. And if so, for all of them, then just. click
Certainly.
back. Okay, awesome, thank you.
Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Eldon,
Yes.
Russell,
Yes.
Vixen,
Yes.
Cuthbertson,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Ray.
Yes.
Thank you. Next, we will move to reports and regular business. Item A, consideration of a request from the OPC Board to consider the 2018 OPC budget. Welcome, OPC.
And just as a point, it's actually the 2018 to 2020 budget.
I thought,
220, okay, it wasn't in there. Thank you. It's in this part. Thank you,
Yeah.
Renee. Welcome.
No, thank you. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Dalton and Rochester City Council members. Tim Sauve, OPC Finance Director, and I are here this evening to represent the 2017-18 budget through 2020. Before we discuss the budget, I'd like to take this time to recognize our Rochester Council Representative, Stuart Vixen, who is also the chair of the governing board, and Lucy Strand, our senior representative on the governing board. Thank you for supporting the mission and the vision of the OPC. 2016 was a busy year for OPC, and I'd like to take this time to really recognize the highlights, the significant achievements of the organization for the last year. So OPC by the numbers. Transportation provided 56,291 trips. The nutrition prepared, served, and delivered 117,989 meals. Our senior support services, that includes our telephone service requests, our commodity foods, our Medicare, Medicaid assistance, our loan closets, our support groups, 6,636 units of service. Our adult day service had over 40 participants, enrichment and fine arts, 29,354 participants. Performing arts, that's our 650 players and 650 club, 2,350 people were able to partake in that and enjoy those different events. Our leisure travel, 52-day and extended trips, and that had 1,645 travelers. Health and wellness had 144,633 participants. Of course, those are duplication. They come every day. They walk the track and so forth. And then our volunteers, 39,746 hours. So 2016 brought some innovative programs and services to the center. Our Spring into Action Week, which is a week of all kinds of activities at the center, a chance for our members and non-members to come in and really find out what OPC is about with free programs and workshops and so forth. Our outdoor art sale, our River Strings Dulcimer concert, our Mind and Body and Spirit workshops. Dance for Parkinson's was a new class that we introduced this last year, our flu shot clinic, and Rewired Not Retired, which is a new program for pre- and post-retirees. That's been very popular at the center. Mind aerobics classes and much more. So some of our achievements, our marketing and PR updates. We had a new and improved website that we introduced in the beginning of 2016, our color newsletter. In fact, I have one here that I'd like to just show off because I think it's phenomenal. It's a really nice chance to recognize all the activities happening at the center. Our bi-weekly e-blasts with upcoming programs, Facebook, Twitter, quarterly submissions to our local township and city newsletters, testimonial videos for our gala, our 5K, supporting our Meals on Wheels, and then plus our events on the public access channels. We had new technology that we brought to the OPC. My Senior Center is our new database with our kiosk check-in system. So as the seniors, our members are coming into the center, they have a chance to swipe in and really touch what they're in the center for. And we have that statistics. Before it was just a sheet of paper and you write down that you're there in the facility. Now we really have a tracking system to know exactly the use of the facility, and the statistics have been amazing. We have been able to track at least 300,000 people that walked in and out of the facility in 2016, and that's for our performing arts, that's for our Meals on Wheels, those are volunteers. It really is amazing to have those statistics and really shows the use of the building, and it also has escalated in the last year. As we started this have our members re-sign up, in a sense, to the center. And that's been interesting because it started out in the end of June of 2016. We had 5,300 members that were in this data system. Now we have over almost 9,000. We're almost at 9,000. That's been incredible, and it's taken a lot of work on our staff, because that's re-entering all that information in the system when you have a new database. So we have the new PC Trans dispatch software instituted to maximize drive time, resulting in reduction in transportation costs. eTapestry, which is our software donor information and gift tracking system, and then our payroll processing and timekeeping services. So financial planning and development, transition to the Financial Edge, which is our accounting services, transition of our fiscal year from January to December, so now it's October through September 30th. We adopted a fund development plan. We had our capital plan approved, our transportation millage renewal approved in Rochester Hills in 2015 in November, and Oakland Township in August of 2016. Successful sponsorships for our gala, our 5K. OPC budget relies on successful fundraising and events throughout the year, which equates to 18% of our budget each year. So facility updates. LED lighting, energy audit completed. OPC was complimented for building energy efficiency this last year. Filter tank and sand was replaced, and lateral lines repaired for our pools. The building's going on a significant mile mark. Next year it's going to be 15 years, and we had some updates that we had to go through. Repairs to our HVAC units, overhaul of our irrigation system, relamping our fixtures, and then the main floor, fresh new look, paint, carpet, vinyl, flooring, and reupholstered furniture. So Par Pharmaceutical donated 2.36 acres of land to OPC on the east side of the current parking lot, which will eventually will be able to expand our parking to really meet the need of our growing senior demographic that continues to come into our facility. So also the organization received the 2016 Pinnacle Award for Philanthropy through the Chamber. And honestly, we have 100 part-time, 16 full-time employees that are truly committed to providing quality programs and services to our seniors in the area. So one of the goals in 2017, including updated our strategic plan, and we already fulfilled that with a wonderful session in early January, and we were able to update our vision, our mission, and our core values. We're really proud of what we've accomplished so far, and we have a lot that we're doing throughout this year. I hope you've had a chance to review the 2017-18 budget, and that was approved by our governing board on July 6th. Tim is here to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Renee. I'm going to just see if anybody in the audience has a comment or question. If not, I'll go ahead and move to council. Wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
Councilmember Bixon.
Yes, that was an excellent presentation, and Lucy and I want to take full credit for everything that she just did. Now, just that the budget was very much gone over in detail. I don't think there's any surprises here, which is good, and I think it's a good budget, and I think things are going extremely well, so I would make a motion to approve the budget.
Support.
I have a motion by Councilmember Bixon, support by the Mayor Pro Tem. Discussion, Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, Renee, it was an excellent presentation, and thank you for the achievements, because I think we need to continue to highlight everything that OPC is doing for our community and within the walls of OPC. But what I really liked is the highlights, how you put them together.
Oh, thank you.
I really appreciated the revenue changes, the personnel changes, the operating changes, the capital plan. I'm not sure if you all did that, pull that all together, but that really gives council a really easy way to say, okay, these are the highlights. We can, dig into a little bit on the budget, but this is like perfect for us to look at any budget, and I hope that some others follow in your footsteps, so thank you.
I just want to echo that. That was really important for me. I don't have to go dig. You really highlighted. I think you,
This was nice.
having come before us before, you kind of understand what the council's looking for. Obviously, revenue, expenditures, where are they taking place? What are your improvements going forward? So for me, it was really, really well done, and I really like that part of it. So thank you for doing that. Any other council discussion? Councilmember Peterson.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. I wanted to thank you as well. I thought it was a very well-done presentation. I did like all the achievements, highlighted, because we don't know, the community doesn't hear about enough of these good things. I wish news media would pick up on those articles to help highlight more of what you're doing there. I do know from the many people that I move into the area that a lot of them want to be close to where they can walk to OPC, if that's their demographic for your what you have there. A couple of questions, though. I wanted to know regarding the leisure travel that you do, because I know a lot of people go into that. Do we make profit off of that? Because I know they're basically, these are like pre-planned type trips set on a price.
Yeah, no, we really do not make much of a profit. We cover our costs.
Okay.
We make maybe 1% or so, but that's fluctuates every year depending on the trip. So we
Yeah.
price it so that we simply cover our costs, including our administrative costs.
No, that's good. I think it's great for the people who actually participate because they know that, they're getting a really good deal to go somewhere. Madam Mayor, I just have
And
a
we
couple
always
other-
say we have something for everyone, 50
I know
plus.
you do. I've seen your newsletter, and I think it's great what you offer. Does Crittenton Hospital still have their space there for your health and wellness?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
Mhm.
Do they rent from you, or do they actually?
Yes, they have a building use agreement.
Oh, do they? Okay.
Mhm.
All right. I want to thank you, though, for the transportation. I know a lot of the millage dollars go towards that program and grant money, correct?
Yes, there's.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Only
the
because.
municipal credits and the community credits go toward the transportation and plus, the transportation
Well,
millage dollars.
and it's very awesome because a neighbor of mine, has to use that, and they're every day now to pick them up and bring them home. So I think it's great. So I'm glad that we have all of that, and so good work on that. And I think that was about it. I just out of your 100 part-time employees, are they all paid part-time, or does that count all the volunteers you have too?
No. 100 part-time are paid.
Okay.
Yes.
So you still have hundreds of.
We have
volunteers?
over 1,000
1,000?
volunteers. We don't know what we would do without our volunteers.
Okay.
In the state of Michigan,
Yeah.
that equates to, they have a dollar amount that they equate to volunteers,
Mhm.
and it's approximately about $22. And if we were to put that to those 39,000 hours,
Yeah.
that would almost be $1 million.
Right.
That's what those volunteers really save OPC with, delivering the meals, being there at our desk to welcome members coming into the facility, and really helping out in so many ways. It's amazing.
Well, I would
we
just
have
like
so
to-
many volunteers. It's
Well, then-
fantastic.
I would just like to publicly thank all the volunteers that make OPC so great. I think that's awesome.
Yes, thank you for that. I
You're
agree.
very welcome.
I agree.
That's amazing. Thank you. Thank you,
Any
Madam
other
Mayor.
comments? Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Dalton.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Vixen.
Yes.
Cuthbertson.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Ray.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I just want to mention that last year in 2015, we actually started a review every year. It's either in February or March, and it's a chance for us to really actually highlight all the achievements in the last year. We will be doing that again, and I will be sure to let you all know. And Stuart Bixon or whoever is our representative can make that announcement here at the council meeting, because we would really like to have the council members and the community members to come and really see what's all happening and all the great things that we're doing at OPC. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks. Next, we will move to receipt of the quarterly financial report. Mr. City Manager.
Yes, I met with Anthony and John Scanlon before they left for their current training. We went over the quarterly financial report, which is attached. This is going to be the last BSNA quarterly report as we're transitioning, as we roll over to our new software. Excuse me. with fund balance to our new software with BSNA. Excuse me there. Anthony's going to be talking in the future about the modules as they start to roll over as we start our training here in August through September, October, and November. So this will be the last report in this format. He's going to be highlighting the new format along with our auditors actually coming in. So again, this is wrapping up our last fiscal year. Not really, when I met with Anthony, no changes as we still are getting and receiving the final bills for this component. Early, you said end of October, early November would be when the auditor actually comes in to highlight any changes from this.
Any questions about this item on the agenda? Council? I don't think we need anything other than to receive. Thank you. Next is consideration of a boards and commission nomination to be considered for mayoral appointment to the Historical Commission. And I would like to nominate Douglas Van Slembrook for appointment at the next city council meeting. As next is consideration of a boards and commission nomination to be considered for mayoral appointment to the Downtown Development Authority. And I'd like to nominate Lisa Williams to that position for nomination. I would also, at this time, it is with great sadness that I have to let everyone know that Pat Kane resigned from the DDA board effective at the last meeting. I think we're all in agreement that we know how passionate Pat is about her love for the city. There's nobody that is more passionate in this community than Pat is. She has served the DDA extremely well. She's been a great asset as a resident position on that board, and I've had the pleasure of serving with Pat the entire time she's been on the board. So I just want to thank her. I thanked her at the meeting, and I think all of us feel the same way, that thank you, Pat, for your service. You've done a great job. Now is time for you to spend time with your wonderful husband, Ed, and do some great things together as a family. So I think all of us are in agreement. We want to thank Pat for her dedication and service. So I hope she's not watching. I hope she's doing other things. But so next,
She's probably watching.
Yeah. Yes.
I just want to make a comment that I think Lisa Jermaine Williams is going to be an awesome addition to the DDA. So thank you for that nomination.
Next, we'll go ahead and do the report from the DDA liaison. I'll start with you, Councilmember Peterson.
Well, it was really awesome. Sue Keels and Christy Trevero gave a presentation, and I just need to check my notes. And it was regarding creating successful markets. They had gone on Main Street, Oakland, had paid for them to go and experience. I forget the exact city they were.
They were in New York City.
They were in New York City to experience the outdoor, indoor markets that they have there. And the presentation was totally awesome. I really think it's something that council should actually really partake in, so then they can understand where they're coming from and what the farmers market idea is really all about. It's not just a box of what we think here today. It's a total different lifestyle of living. But it was outstanding. Sue Keels does a phenomenal job. I think she's A-plus person representing the community going out there, as well as Christy. That was one of the big highlights. And then got an update on the pocket parks. The weather delayed some of that progress, but they're on schedule and everything else. And they've been, we have people looking over them. What's the group that Tony LaPuma sits on?
That's
Site development. Site development is with them every day, checking on it, keeping everything in order. And then we had, my notes, sorry. There was a lot that they talked about. I don't want to steal any of Nick's thunder, but he did talk, did a nice update on the economic development in the community, so he can give that one later. Paul Haig gave an update on the Open Late Thursdays, and I think everyone would be really thrilled to hear that we've had excellent participation. I know they'd like to see more open, but they've had a really good turnout, and people have been very pleased to have that. And also, Mayor Dalton had spoke that there was going to be an annual downtown maintenance walk coming up, and that's going to be, and that was all discussed as well. And I think that basically covered all of those items. And then there was discussion regarding the sound system. And I have a few questions. I don't know whether or not to wait till miscellaneous or bring them up now.
You could, I guess, bring them up now.
Oh, okay. I guess my couple of things is that I've learned since this all came about, after it was voted on and everything, that, well, for one, I'm disappointed there were some business owners who really didn't hear that this was taking place. And I think that I've been observing how we have so many restaurants who are giving a really nice atmosphere to our community and the people who come here to enjoy it, that I think if we take away some of the business owners' rights of not being able to have their own music, and others who are right off of Main Street can still have music, I don't kind of think that part's fair. And just disappointed that we weren't told that there were some people that didn't really know about it, and they currently have music systems. That's one thing. The other is I've learned recently that when you get this music in that you have to pay rights and everything for using it, and depends on how many people and broad of an audience you have. So I wanted to know if we can actually get some numbers then to see what it's going to probably actually cost us, because I think that the number is going to be higher from what I'm told based on the density that we have here of a population by the amount of music. So those are a couple of my concerns there. I wish I would have known that some of this stuff prior to that people were not informed, because I would have changed my vote and not voted the way I did, because I think that it's going to be detrimental in the future to some of our business owners, and some of them are going to get to enjoy it on the outskirts of still having music to play.
So as the mayor that sits on the DDA board, I will pass that, but I would also encourage you as the liaison to reach out to the chair, Mark Albrecht, and I'm sure he's more than happy to hear your concerns and address those. I would also ask that the public if they have concerns or questions, that they would send those to the director, Christie, and the chair, Mark Albrecht. He's more than happy to address those issues and deal with them head on. So I think that would be a good format. I appreciate your concerns, but I think I will pass them along, but I would also encourage you as the liaison to reach out to them, because I know I was the liaison on that board at one time, and they've always done a good job of following up on those concerns. So thank you. Next, we'll move on to the PSD, and that's the Mayor Pro Tem.
Well, thank you. I was absent, so Nick will have to take over. I did follow up with Christy the next day at Business Development, but I wasn't actually at the meeting. So, Nick, do you want to take over?
We went over the events that were coming up, and Posed was probably the one everybody gets most excited about. It's become quite popular, and they're getting people to now lend their front picture windows or their display windows to others that might want to do it, that don't if they're off the side streets, etc., to try to keep it more focused on Main Street. And we heard, and Christy and Sue did that initial presentation, which is amazing, and it was all about it's not a farmer's market. It's really not a marketplace. It's a lifestyle. It's about health and community engagement, and I think Councilwoman Peterson said that'd be a great idea. It's a little bit long.
I was going to say,
And
I
it's
would
hard to cut it back.
probably
Yeah.
say that I'm going to make a suggestion that they send the deck out to
That's a good
council
idea.
and put it on the website.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
But it is a long
Yeah, it's 40
presentation,
minutes.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's tough on.
Yeah, they cut it down
with
from
everything
3
else that we
hours.
have going on,
Yeah,
so.
they cut it from 3 hours to 40 minutes.
I'm going to ask that
Good
deck
idea.
is made available to everybody.
So, and then we talked about the direct correlation between events, and then we got to show them the parking revenue. We set a record. Sidewalk sales was like off the hook for the decks and the meters, and not tickets necessarily. It was the decks and the meters. So they're tracking that now on events. So we said they do their survey to find out, did it ring registers? But now we can see what it's doing for our system, and you can. Anthony actually makes notes. Anthony and John will put a note. This was sidewalk sales. This was an event, so that we can kind of keep tracking that. So I think it's a good barometer on what they're doing. And if some aren't successful, we know that too. So it was a good discussion.
Great. And then,
Well,
yes.
I'll just add to that. We also talked a little bit about the year-round farmers market and gave an update on that, because that's coming, and I want to make sure that we continue to talk about that so that no one's surprised about what's happening in that arena. I don't know if you want to add
Yeah, no,
anything.
that's a good point. So they promised that every meeting they would update them. So where we're at, they're in due diligence, period. So they've engaged the architect now. We've narrowed it down to the site committee got together and narrowed it down to a certain size building. That building now has to have a pro forma put to it to how much revenue can it generate, what the operating expenses are, how many employees, how long, all the ingredients. Then Christie actually made a list, a full page of this is the timetable, this is the actions from Planning Commission, City Council, DDA Board to go through before we even can talk about this for real. So a lot of folks would like this, but it can't happen unless it's fiscally responsible. And the DDA Board has made it abundantly clear. You're going to have to prove it to us, show it to us to make sure that it works and sustainable and on its own. So many of the big communities, the Flints, the Bay Cities, the Saginaw, East Grand Rapids, they have a benefactor. They have somebody that's underwriting the cost. I think in the report they talked about it takes 4 years to break even. Somebody who's underwriting that cost
Right.
for 4 years. So they have to try to avoid that. So they're going to, they're not spending big money. They're doing their due diligence. It's got to come back in front of this board, in front of that board.
Mayor Pro Tem, you to follow up.
I wanted to say I really appreciate and thank you, Nick, for covering me on that, is to put the agendas in here, because then you can see so that we, aren't surprised, and that we do continually bring this up for all of us to know kind of what's, going on, because there's a lot of things moving and shaking within the city.
Councilmember Peterson and then Councilmember Cuthbertson.
I already spoke.
Oh, okay, Councilmember
And then I'll speak.
Cuthbertson? I'll go back.
Could City Council be presented a copy of the written reports related to the farmers market project
Yep.
today?
I'll pass, yeah.
I'm interested to see that. The idea of enhancing a physical permanent location, to my understanding, isn't what we're talking about. It's something substantially more that involves potentially operating kitchens and a whole host of things that make it something more than just badged as a year-round farmers market. This is a near commercial food-related business that leverages, to my understanding, local products, local businesses, but it is in essence a business.
It is a business.
And so, badging it something other than a year-round farmer's market, I think is probably a bit more transparent in terms of the language. And I would encourage the DDA to think about how it captures that as something more than, a farmer's market stalls being built, that have doors that open, because it's two different things.
And Madam Mayor, and I'll just clarify that right now, I guess that was in the presentation from Sue and Christie. That is what this is. This is about the farmer's market. It's not about, that name started something, but it's now changed and evolved into something greater than that, to where it's not all about that. It is going to end up being a business, and it is going to, once you receive the packet and all that information, you will see how incredibly awesome. It's a lifestyle of living that is second to none, and is being copied all around the country. So I think you'll be very, very pleased once you read the presentation.
I also, at one of the very beginning meetings when they talked about it, I said we need to not call this a farmer's market, because Councilmember Cuthbertson brings up a very valid point. You have a picture in your head, and this is nothing like that picture. So I think and this will stand alone on it will have merits. It will stand or fall on its merits alone. So thank you for those suggestions. We will definitely pass those along. Councilmember Cuthbertson, you are next with Planning Commission.
Thank you. We've had 2 recent meetings. Some of that business has landed before council. The regular Planning Commission meeting was on July 12th. We had public hearing on the medical marijuana uses ordinance changes that we voted upon tonight. At that meeting, we also had public hearing on the mixed-use district zoning text amendment, the Downtown Edge 2 district text amendment. and those matters, after a little bit of tweaking, I think at the special meeting, which I'll get to in a moment, will be coming to council shortly. We had a preliminary review of a request for site plan and special exception approval for the neighborhood clothes closet on Mill Street, changing their zoning approval to allow for a number of actual on-sale events to the open to the general public. We don't have all the parameters yet, but what they were suggesting is that it would be quarterly as a part of seasonal transitions to clear out one type of clothing to perhaps the next season, because they don't have storage to always get all of the things that didn't sell during the last season out. So more to come. I think everybody ought to make sure that for the next item that you go to the Crazy Greek pretty soon, because the facade is changing. A Rochester institution is being adjusted. It is basically adding a pitched triangular roof with some nice materials and some coloring in a way to enhance the appearance. Some people have mixed feelings. Well, the revolving
That was
door.
my first question.
The revolving door elicited probably 5 or 6 questions as to whether it's staying, and so there is open question whether that can be accommodated in the new design. It's to be determined on the inside. So I think the Planning Commission spoke for the community and said that it's a piece of unique. I think that's the right word, uniqueness to it, that it'd be hard to replace.
But they're keeping their menu.
Yes. We tabled a site plan approval request for facade renovations at 130 East 4th Street for a business or a salon to be called Strafigo. There were some questions about what the Planning Commission's powers were in terms of reviewing those facades. It was fairly stark. My word. Then we had a preliminary hearing on consideration of a request for conditional rezoning of 919 West University, which is the suburban travel building, but it's actually for the office building behind it. People may not be well aware, but there's an office building behind there that was new construction. There's a physician that wants to conditionally rezone that portion, although it probably will end up having to be the whole site from 02 to 01 to allow for the medical use. We had some conversation about it, and they've agreed to amend and resubmit their conditional rezoning application. Finally, and most significantly, we received a conditional site plan presentation for 332 and 375 East 2nd Street for a development called Blossom Mills, a senior living residence presented by Mosheri Development. The East 2nd Street location is where the current Frank Rewald and Son office building is, as well as the industrial building just to its east. It is a large but I would say from an architectural standpoint, a handsome building as submitted. The massing is substantial, the size is substantial, and the applicant wanted to get feedback and input. It wasn't a site plan request. Based on discussion and the developer's request to have a public hearing to solicit input before site plans would be submitted, and getting, really far down the path of then having to come back and make any potential changes. They wanted to do that actually in August. We suggested that September would be better, just from the time of the year, and to allow it to be circulated in a way that made sense. The this is significant enough that I do think it would make sense for city council to see even just they did a booklet about this big that was bound, and I think if we can get that to city council and some of the pictures in circulation for purposes of eliciting this public comment would probably be helpful. But I made the observation at the time that this isn't just a senior residence. It has a spa, rooftop pool, restaurants, some limited services provided. So the question is whether it quacks a little bit like a hotel, but with a much longer term associated with the people staying there. So this is a matter that I believe is fairly. It is not an ordinary site plan. Not that there necessarily is a typical one anymore, but this is substantial, and people would be well to look at it carefully. So, with that, I will very quickly pivot to our special meeting on the 17th, which was our second meeting now that we're having each month for master plan implementation actions. And we looked at some discussion on the Downtown Edge 1 district, the Transition District, and then, as I noted, finalized conversation on Mixed Use 1 and Downtown Edge 2, which I believe will be coming to council in pretty short order. So that is my lengthy update this evening, Madam Mayor.
And I'll just follow up that the second meeting was probably the best planning commission meeting I'd ever been to. We got so much accomplished, and it really was a good meeting, so.
Could I ask,
Yep, absolutely.
Councilman, just the motion that was made that we're going to bring to city council next meeting about the consultants?
Oh, yes, excuse me. Thank you for the reminder, Nick.
yes.
One of the things that, and you'll see it actually in, I believe, manager's report and in the agenda of things that are coming up shortly. One of the things that we've been very conscious of lately in the Planning Commission is that the scope, scale, and complexity that are related to the developments that are being put in front of us call on subject matter expert, or should call on subject matter experts on things like traffic, environmental engineering, and a handful of other professional experts that we really need to make available to Nick and Vidya, so that we can have the kind of in-depth review that is necessary to be able to give the Planning Commission and the City Council the kind of information to, I think President Reagan said it best, trust but verify the claims that developers are making and the sorts of suggestions in the course of, going through site plan approval that go beyond just, a pure planning exercise. They get into civil engineering in ways that, and environmental engineering, and again, traffic is going to be a very big one, particularly in the southern portion of the city along Letica and 2nd Street. Making sure that we have the tools and the experts available to do it right. And so the Planning Commission made a motion to request administration to put together a list of the subject area that and experts, suggested experts even, that help us, with that lift. And so that item is going to, I believe, coming back either to City Council or the Planning Commission. Eventually council, but I think directly to council, is that right? So that will be upcoming, but some of the, particularly if you consider the some of the recent brownfield related projects that have landed in front of us, which is, I'm not going to steal Mayor's thunder for later about an upcoming meeting, but really having the kind of verification and guidance that we need on our side, not just what the developer is telling us is the gospel. I think really will make for a better outcome, but it actually allows us to, in some of these instances, get to more of a true planning function and not just an evaluation of what's been put in front of us. And so getting to that proactive capacity is really what the motion was grounded in. So.
Thank you. Next, we will move to new business for referral and miscellaneous. Mr. City Manager.
All right, the first item is the receipt of the check register reports. We had both July 6th and the 13th. Next, we have a discussion regarding the Rochester Hills procedure for public comments. So council requested and staff is provided in the packet the materials here for really public comment that Rochester Hills has. They've listed them as their rules of procedure explaining their public comment process. We basically pulled from Rochester Hills procedures, pages 22 through 26. We've already heard tonight from a few residents, regarding, I guess, their thoughts, and I'm happy to answer any questions. I can give a brief summary, or it's pretty, I believe, self-explanatory of what is currently what Rochester Hills is doing.
Discussion from council. Did you, Mayor? Oh, go ahead. Councilmember Cuthbertson, then Councilmember Peterson.
I mean, for my part here, for many years we've undertaken a fairly informal approach to this subject, and that has worked on balance pretty well. I think the discretion of the chair and some gentle guidance to people who might go on longer than is necessary to convey an important point is something of an art, and a few of us have done that for some time. I did watch a few meetings ago. Forgive me, I don't recall the date, but we didn't get out of public comment for about an hour and 15 minutes. And when there is business to be conducted and a long meeting to be undertaken, those situations begin to call to question how effective an informal process is. I've heard plenty of comments about the Rochester Hills policy, and I don't even want to refer to it as Rochester Hills policy. It's a policy that puts a time limit and a card in front of someone, however it may be kind of nuanced and shaped. For my part, I don't want to overreact to some limited situations, but I can see a trajectory in our meetings that really does make them quite long, which in and of itself is not a problem. I've in the last 12 years spent a lot of long hours up here, but I think there needs to be a balance, and that people respect the fact that we're all here to do the very best that we can for this community in a reasonable period of time, and that I think rather than having a note card and a strict limit, for me it would seem that we need to, and if we need to change ordinance language to allow for the mayor in the mayor's discretion, after providing a request that the speaker conclude their comments quickly, that after having done that, that the mayor be authorized to ask for closure or conclusion for that speaker's comments. I'd rather have it be discretionary, but give the mayor the tools, however it needs to be written in ordinance form, the right to move along when it's prudent. And I trust the people that we choose as mayor to be able to make that call. Now, does the mayor want that? I don't know, that's a whole different
I have
question.
some thoughts as a council member and a mayor, so I mean, I'll wait till to get to that point, but I do have some definite thoughts on this.
But to sort of summarize, I don't want to go too far in one direction, out of the gate here. But I can see where it hasn't worked well, and we need to think about how to make sure that people can be heard fairly and contribute, and that business can be concluded in a reasonable period of time. And I'm sure that there's a balance. And I'm sure that balance probably isn't an ironclad policy. Thank you.
Councilmember Peterson, did you have your hand up?
I did, Madam Mayor. Thank you. Yes, I guess my thoughts on the participation card is, after having two citizens come before us this evening and, let us know that they're not in favor of the card and that 3-minute talk time, I do think that we need to allow all our constituents to come before us and speak. I do know that some of it might be timely, and that I would, I think you've done a great job, Madam Mayor, of, knowing, like, when time is kind of up, if it's not getting a point across or helping or doing something. But I do not want to take away any of our citizens' rights whatsoever to be able to come before us, because I'd rather see more people here than less people here. And I think that would actually help a lot. And I'll just interject at this time because it comes in perfect. I did attend the Open Meetings Act and Parliamentary Procedures seminar at Rochester Hills. And interesting, the person who conducting that, she allows people to even remove things off the consent agenda from the public because they might have a question and they might not get a chance to answer. And she's been doing this. She's like the queen of parliamentary procedure, very respected throughout the nation. And I think that we need to seriously look at this, actually bring that person in from the MML and have our own update and policy and procedures of how to do this here, the class seminar that they did in Rochester Hills, because I think that it's very much needed, especially the things that you learn from it. I think that would help all our boards and commissions and everybody, and if we did something even at the fire department, it would be great to incorporate that, and so we're all on the same page. I learned a lot, and it was great takeaway. And I guess on that, I'll just thank, Rochester Hills for inviting us to partake in that with the other surrounding communities. It was very awesome. Madam Mayor Barnett and Leanne Scott, that was very nice for them to do that. So, but on that, I would not support participation cards here. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would agree that we have more of an informal approach here, and maybe the cards are not the way to go, but to have some kind of structure. I think it's right now what we have is very cumbersome because the mayor has to ask every single agenda item if there's public comment, and that's where the cumbersomeness comes in. It has nothing to do that we want to listen to what our citizens have to say, but we also want to honor everyone that's sitting in the audience and that's on the agenda that has paid for plans and deliberation, and they're here to talking about agenda, and they've come to a meeting and we're over an hour and we haven't even got to the subject. So to make it, maybe it's 3 minutes, maybe it's 4 minutes, maybe it's a time card. I know at the county they do time cards so that when your time is up, so you're just being respectful to everyone else. So I don't know if we need to make movement on this tonight, but I think it's something that we need to consider. And how do we make it not so cumbersome, especially for the mayor, after every single agenda item? And if you do have a card and people sign up, then you have a system that rolls very fluid, and that if we make a mistake, and we forget to, because it's very difficult up here when you're, got a lot of things that you're trying to juggle at the same time. And truthfully, all the texts that I get at night, it's about public comment that I'm getting. I don't know, it's been over the last 6 months. So that is why I think we need some kind of structure. I'm not sure if we're on par. We need to make it fit Rochester, but we need something, I believe, to help us make this more smooth.
I'm just going to interject, if it's okay, Councilmember Dixon, then I'll move down to you. This is the number one email, call, and text I get comments on. I do my best, and every mayor that's ever been up here has done their best to recognize the public comment. We are trying to conduct business here, and never have I ever intentionally not called on somebody. But it's very disruptive when I have people in the audience yelling and raising their hands and wanting to, because I have moved on to the next item just out of regular business. So it's not like, hey, I'm going to ignore you today, I'm going to move on to the next item. That's never the intent. But I'm trying to run a meeting and conduct business. So for me, I've been the one of the council members that have encouraged people to come to these meetings and tell people about it. So for me, the system, we do have a different system. We have it is in our bylaws or ordinances that you can comment after every item. That's great, but that's also, we have to be able to conduct business too. So I think there's a good place that we can come to. I wanted, the Mayor Pro Tem and I have had this discussion numerous times. I think we're starting at a good discussion spot. We're going to come up with a perfect plan, probably not, but I think we do need to start the discussion. Councilmember Bixon.
Thank you. Yeah, as anybody who's been mayor, it is difficult because if you cut somebody off, you're being mean to them, and if you let them go on, you're losing control of the meeting. I mean, you get those two criticisms no matter what.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I've seen Rochester Hills where they just cut people off, and it just seems so unfriendly and undemocratic. And I also at one time at the OPC, it was an issue, as Mr. Zoke had said. And again, it was just became very negative. You're cutting people off. People don't like that, so it almost causes more problems. So I would not be for the cards or the cutoff. But everybody in the audience and frankly up here, we need to limit our comments and be concise as we can. Because we can't sit here till 11, 12 o'clock because then good decisions aren't made when you've been sitting, when you've worked all day and then you're here at 11 o'clock. It gets harder and harder. So that's the tough part about being mayor, and I think just as a council we have to support the mayor in cutting people off if it needs to happen. Hopefully it doesn't need to.
Yep.
But to go that route, I think we don't need to do that yet.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councilmember Ray.
I think this is the first time I'm actually going to say something in the meeting. The short of it is, at least in my opinion, I guess it's good to know that that's how Rochester Hills does things. I don't think that's the solution, these cards. I don't think that was necessarily the solution before or even after learning more about it. In my short experience on council, I think the business of the city generally is done and conducted in small rooms, in smaller gatherings. And in that regard, I think the discretion of the chair probably goes farther with some degree of informality than the formality of cards and structured comments and regimented time slots. My suspicion is that in the chances that the council and the city would have benefited from some measure of time, if discretion was used in those occurrences, that we would have likely yielded just fine results without having all of the restrictions or what have you, the formalities that come with these comment cards. And I would just ask that as business and community business is conducted, I think here in the city of Rochester is one of the reasons I enjoy living here, is that it's on a very personal level. I mean, everybody's reachable, and in that regard, if a resident had a list of items or concerns or things to be addressed, that they know that city council, city administration is accessible to work through that before a council meeting. Not to say that they shouldn't be given the opportunity to come speak to council, because they should. I don't think there's anybody that's saying that they shouldn't. But, you know, for the same reason that when we get our packets, I look through everything, and if I need to know something, I'm calling somebody before Monday night to get the information, so that when we get to the business meeting, we're all prepared, we're all ready to go, and then if I have follow-up questions, I'll ask them. But to get it out done versus come in with all this stuff and then get frustrated because I'm not getting anywhere when no one has the time to address each of those items. So I think it's just a working relationship that, you know, that we ought to just nurture, and I think the discretion of the chair would be more than enough. Thank you.
Yeah, so I would encourage residents, when they come before council, to send their list ahead of time. I mean, during miscellaneous at the end of the meeting, it's apparent to me when council brings up an item, they're not doing it to bring up the item for the very first time. They're responding to a resident who's watching, who's called them. For instance, the mayor pro tem might say, there is a street light out on Lysander. She's not saying it because she wants the administration to know. She's saying it to recognize the resident that called her to say, there's a light out. I have one of those. I'm going to do it miscellaneous this evening. So we take very carefully and concerned all of your requests. But sometimes in order to progress into business, to get the business done for the day, you could submit those ahead of time. You're more than welcome to come up and bring those up and read through all of them. Ms. Turner always has a very good list that she likes to bring up, which is great, because then a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, we can respond to her offline, because during public comment, I think it's better that we listen and then we can respond offline. So I think this is a good discussion. It's going to help. But I really thought it was important, because there's a lot of people, I think there's some people that feel that we don't give them enough, and I don't think that's the case. I think all of this council has done a very good job of addressing those concerns, and if we miss somebody, it is done by accident. It is not done on purpose. And so, do I have any public comment on this item this evening? All right. I will.
I would hope that you wouldn't go to something that's just discretionary, because that can be abused. And I honestly don't think you do anything on purpose. I really don't, Mayor. I think that some nights you just get going, though, and you just start moving through things, and all of a sudden I'm going, wait, that's 4 items have gone by.
And I appreciate that, but I also need you to consider my position up on this council.
I understand that. I've chaired a lot of
items,
a lot of things, including the Board of Commissioners at times, but a couple times. But, it does add some organization to the thing for people to come in and write down their name and address. Some people don't like to give their address on TV, quite frankly. If you have it on a card, it's there for the clerk then. She can put it on file, whatever. So that's one thing, and it's just part of the whole open government thing. You're not just here to do your business. It's our business.
Absolutely.
So, a lot of people don't come because they don't think they get a chance to say anything, or nobody's listening. And I get a lot of phone calls these days, which
Well,
I'd rather not do, and I'd rather not be here, quite frankly.
Well, I definitely don't think that's the case. I would agree to disagree with you on that. I think this council, they have all of our phone numbers, they have our cell phones. People come into my work regularly to discuss city items with me. So with all due respect, I welcome anybody to come to this council.
Well, thank you. And I never said you didn't.
I'm just commenting, that's all.
I know.
Thank you.
But I would just hope that, I don't have a problem with the system the way it is, but if you had a card or a sign-in sheet, at least that is something that gives you an idea where somebody wants to speak.
Thank you.
And if they can, with a sign-in sheet, you can still add your name during the meeting, depending on where you have, where you're doing it and how you're doing it, but, yeah, the cards, most communities, I think it's not just Rochester Hills, many communities use that kind of system. So
Okay.
it's not something that's unusual. I think probably what we're doing is more unusual in that you just have to try and look around and say, well, does anybody want to? Do I think anybody wants to talk on this? And sometimes people do, and they just haven't raised their hand because they didn't get a chance to.
Thank you.
And so thank you.
Thanks. Mr. Zook.
We have scheduled and unscheduled public comment. And I think the long one we're talking about is when there's 2 or 3 or 4 presentations that take up an hour before everybody else gets to speak. Those should be those shouldn't be limited, but those should be listed as something different than public comment. When someone is coming to do something with a building, to do something with a project that's going to take a period of time, they should be that should be called a scheduled something other than public comment. And how do you get something on the record? By sending a little note in or by emailing. And now this thing that I spoke tonight about blight, I've been in contact with city people 5 times on the same issue. Nowhere. How does anybody know I even spoke on it? How does anybody know I even followed up on it? Nobody knows, but it goes in the minutes. That's what I come for. You guys have been extremely fair. And I make an effort not to spend a lot of time up here because you can tell when you guys are doing this, or somebody's got his phone out and tweeting, please, does anybody have any cyanide? Because we do read your Twitter accounts. We know you said the wrong thing and we've been here too much. But on a whole, you've done a wonderful job. I've been in cities where I've been a resident that it went too long and they went to the 3-minute rule. And what we did to get around it was we would take and type it out on 8 or 10 pages and just have all our friends go and just pass down the paper.
Yeah, we want to avoid that, Mr.
Yep.
Zook. So
Thank you
thank you.
so much, and we appreciate it.
Thank you. I think this is any other council member comforts. I think this is
Maybe it's a bit of gallows humor, but I have to admire Rochester Hills that they have at least 26, if not more, pages in their book of their rules of procedure. I mean, that's really quite an accomplishment. We just saw pages 22 through 26 in our packet.
Yeah.
That's fine work. I have to commend that.
Okay, next is item C. Discussion regarding board and commission liaison updates in a sample committee report template. Mr. City Manager.
All right. For this item, again, it was a council request. In the packet, though, I do want to highlight 2 items. First, this last fall, staff and I took a stab at updating our description and meeting schedule. So what you see is the list of our over 20 different boards, committees, and commissions. What we added was a brief description. We tied in, the length of the terms, the number of members, and a little bit more information. Quite honestly, after having a conversation with Mayor Pro Tem Russell this afternoon, I think it might also be helpful to formalize what we've been doing since I've been here is the orientation for our newly appointed members, as well as providing those members with some written guidance. In addition, last meeting, there was a request for me to present council with some options. What I ended up doing, and that's what's listed as the sample committee report to city council template. I went on a number of different communities' websites to see how they're presenting or summarizing their various boards, committees, and commissions. What I saw the majority of was a one-pager along with the agendas and potentially the minutes. The majority listed, again, it would say the name of the committee, report to council, and their meeting date. The liaison to the city council, the name of that person, if it was a staff member or if it was an actual council member. The committee members of that committee, listing the chairpersons, if they were affiliated with an institution, let's say a bank or a school or something like that, as well as the members, and noting who was in attendance at that meeting and who was absent. Next, describing the location of the meeting, so if it was at City Hall, if it was in a meeting room, the date, the time, if anybody was attending, in person or via a conference call. Then they listed the next meeting, again, the date, time, location, and then really kind of almost what would be in an agenda, kind of any items that they completed, any items that were in progress, including any kind of budget components, any announcements, as well as questions that liaison would be bringing for their council, as well as any notes. And then finally, the final two items that I've listed here is any formal motions to the city council. Let's use the OPC for example. Getting that information from the director and from our liaison ahead of time, we were able to basically put it in our packet so that council would have plenty of time to review that information and then have the formal request to have it adopted, as well as any informal ones, which might be recommendations. So this, I think, is a start. I'm wide open and happy to take any direction. Like I said, I'm just trying to put together a little bit of a framework. I think a one-pager, I wouldn't want to make our packets any thicker than they are, could be helpful.
Councilmember Cuthbertson.
I would be happy to edit and add to a report prepared by administration who happen to be present at any of those given meetings to say, here's a suggestion. But, I'm as much time as I spend in these meetings, doing a homework assignment, I don't know, feels kind of, I don't know what word to use.
Yeah.
I'm lost for
Councilmember
words.
Dixon?
As a high school teacher, I have an aversion to somebody assigning me homework as well. And I think I also, as a high school teacher, will predict that a lot of people won't do their homework. And I also think you can't force city council people to do this. I think if you leave it to the discretion of a council person, if they think there's something important, they should bring it up. If not, I like the idea of maybe including the minutes, but to create this bureaucratic workload nightmare to me is just not necessary and, just unnecessary. Thank you.
I would just say that to highlight an item there, because when you were going through it, I was writing down, include the agenda and include the minutes for your meeting.
Right.
Because that really has everything.
It does.
So if you move it back a month, so you're not going to get, this month, we're not going to get what happened this month. So, and if council feels, maybe we could use this simple form, if council feels there's something that happened that was like traumatic or, earth-shattering, that we go ahead and maybe talk about it during miscellaneous. But I like the idea of doing the agenda in the minutes, as that could be submitted. So then, if we want to read through it, we have it there, moving forward. Councilmember Ray.
Council members be warned. Communicate more, include your meeting minutes, or else this is what's to be expected.
Councilmember Peterson. and then go to the
Thank you,
mayor.
Madam Mayor. And I'll just add because I don't want to, when we do this here without having formalized minutes that have been approved and things like that, I'd hate to have anything misrepresented on a real quick sheet without having all the, true minutes. I think that would be my biggest concern with that. Otherwise, I want everything to be online for everyone so they can read it. Right now, they get everything usually a month afterwards. That's the way the minutes roll now, currently, and have for the past 7-8 years that I know of. Other than that, we have a lot of boards and commissions. I don't know who's going to read these all and give us the update, because some of these I haven't heard an update from in 2 years that I've sat here. So unfortunately, it's kind of, I don't know, difficult to think that we're going to implement something new with boards and commissions we don't hear from at all currently.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, and I have to agree that we already do so much, and we already have so much to do. We already have, of 20 boards and commissions to attend. But really where the root cause of where this came from is, how do we report significant things? For instance, an amendment to a budget that's over $80,000, and it's the first time we've heard it at council table. That's a problem. So over-communicate. We can't over-communicate. When we have something that's significant that's going to come to council, we need to hear about it from our liaison. Even during the budget process, what's happening, you know, with the different budgets, if there's something that is going over a couple of percent, it could be new carpet at OPC, I don't know. I mean, it could be all kinds of different things, but if it's a significant change, so I guess at the bottom line, after looking at this, which, you know, it gave me hives myself, because there's so much to do, but important announcements, big things that are coming before council. So let's just to continue to really communicate. And I really do like this description of the meetings. But for instance, I was surprised, like RARA board, I know that you guys, I think you meet regular, and it says meets as needed. Is that true, or is?
I didn't write it, so.
Yeah, I know, I don't know. I'm just, you
That's
attend
old
the meeting,
information.
right?
We have, monthly meetings.
Yeah. So like those kind of things, you know, I don't know how that, you know, where that goes, but it's really nice just to have this available to us, and that we could say, okay, it's the third Tuesday, whatever, for the public.
Well, it's just, and Madam Mayor, if I may add, you know, for 2 years of sitting up here, nothing has ever been discussed as to anyone wanting any information when you go ahead and give an update. So I guess without, you know, proper protocol even being given, you don't know what is to be expected. And I would prefer to stick to the agendas and minutes, because then you get everything that is actually officially recorded. Other than that, you're not getting, I don't want to be speaking out of turn of anything and get anything mixed up, and I would hate to see anyone else have to have that responsibility either. I think the minutes, when they're recorded, speak for themselves, and everything is online. And I don't want this to continue on this way, that there's such negativity regarding that, because every one of us receive these packets, and it should, if you're not reading your packet fully and getting all your information, then I don't know, hopefully you read the minutes and the agendas when they come in the packets then.
So I guess for right now, currently, we have planning, DDA, and PSD that submit their agenda and their meeting minutes. If it's not too difficult, we could add other boards and commissions. You could address your secretaries or your chairs to send the meeting minutes to the city, and that we will get those put in the packet when they are actually approved. I agree, we have to have approved meeting minutes. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, all of these are online. What is critical, guys, is that's why we have a liaison, to give us, it's a two-way street, it's communication. And that's why we put a template together to say, okay, we do have to have guidelines, because it's not an individual we're trying to address, it's the system that we're trying to address. And so if there's something, X amount of budget or X amount or motion that's spent, those kind of things, this council cannot possibly go through. I mean, just this last 2 weeks, I think I've been in 7 meetings. I mean, there's no way that I can possibly go and look at all the other minutes that I'm not a part of. And so that's what I'm depending on the liaison to do. That, if there's a system, I like structure, so if it's above a threshold, absolutely we need to know about it.
Councilmember Cuthbertson.
I was just going to say, it sounds like, maybe if each one of us, homework assignment, send an email with 4 or 5 things that, are those thresholds, right? What kind of things do we want to hear about on a pretty regular basis? And, we put it together, and at that point, getting some notification ahead of time rather than, waiting for the process to catch up and have something landed here. I agree with the sentiment of the request. I absolutely do. And I think if there are going to be reports, if there's a member of the city administration there, just popping it in, and I'm happy to look at it and add 3 or 4 sentences of stuff that I think might be material. But, reducing the number of surprises is always a good thing in any business or function that has a process. So if there's some low-hanging fruit, let's identify it and, help the liaisons at least think about something when they're in those meetings. Oh, geez, that's one of Jeff's pet peeves. I'm going to give him a call, or I'll send him a note and say, hey, you ought to take a minute and look at this, because I know that's something that's important to you. It doesn't even have to be up here even, just that we're communicating better in that regard. I'm sure I could do a better job of it, despite the fact that my liaison report, I think, was 6 minutes this evening. Thank you.
To address, I do think the Mayor Pro Tem has a valid point with a system, and that there are probably, I think everybody's concerned if there's a big swing in a budget. I think everybody's concerned if the building is having issues that you're serving on the board, or if you're coming up with a new policy that has significant impact on the council. That's something that we would all agree is probably should be a heads up. So maybe if the Mayor Pro Tem is so inclined to sit down with the city manager and come up with 4 or 5 buzz, points that highlight thresholds that maybe that sparks a call or an action on council. Does that sound like? Okay?
Yeah, I'd be happy to take away the homework also, and so homework assignment canceled.
I wasn't going to do it anyway.
Yeah, all right.
Just kidding.
Yep, just a second.
No, and if I would just like to add, I would like all our input to be given to the city manager, because I think I think all of us up here have that opportunity to do that, and go forward from there.
Absolutely, and any time a agenda item, if you have, ideas, please send them forward.
Well,
definitely.
I guess I do things a little bit different here than some, but when things were raised and things like that, and information was given, I have reached out to the city manager on every occasion.
Absolutely.
So,
Okay.
to me, that's my protocol. I don't need to reach out to my council members. I need to reach out to the city manager and the mayor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we will move on to city update. Am I still
Yep.
on? Okay.
So from there, I'm going to go to the city manager updates. I just have 3. The first one, in the packet already, is a highlight with the the schedule for our upcoming Rochester homecoming. So attached is the event schedule for August 12th. The event will kick off with a 10 a.m. ribbon cutting for the Bicentennial Monument, with many other items going on starting at noon till about 5, and then music from 5 to 9, with a balloon glow at 9, and then fireworks we're estimating, depending on the light, around 9:15. Again, there's attached in the packet a little bit more details there. Next, as I think was mentioned, but not with any of the specifics, the sidewalk sales in regards to the parking meters. They did have a very positive impact. The event from Thursday through Saturday, we saw 11% increase outside the normal limits, and that was a total just over $3,000. So I put a little bit more information in here, but again, that's excluding any permits and ticket revenue. This is just looking at the meters and our parking platform revenue. Finally, I do want to give an update in regards to our AV equipment. Currently, we've had some issues and some failures. Actually, even tonight, we're actually using equipment, repurposing one portion as a temporary measure just to allow this to be functioning today. That said, staff and I will be forwarding a recommendation and some options to council shortly. That's all I had.
Thank you. Mr. Banda.
I do have something, and I'm glad Mr. Zoke's still here. He alluded to this enforcing of ordinances. So I want to talk about parking for 2 seconds. So the value of technology here while you're working and your police chief sitting in the back working this is the fact. So last Friday and Saturday, we wrote, and let me start, we're not proud of or get any enjoyment in writing tickets. If everybody put the money in the meter, we would be fine. We'd write no tickets. Don't have to write any revenue from that. At this point this year, we are 1,500 tickets more than this point last year. So there's 2 ways to look at it. We're not enforcing them where the people are not paying, so we have to enforce it. We have an ordinance. So if anybody listened to what Mr. Zoke said, don't think somebody's not here from 6 to 9, because they are. Last Friday alone, 83 tickets were issued out of 228 on Friday and Saturday. 40% of those were written between 6 and 9. So we're out there all the time. There's somebody here every night looking to do it, not to punish, but to look for people that are not paying and following the system like the people that do. Here's probably the most important takeaway. And I could understand why a resident would say, I drive through town and 80% of the lights are flashing red. In one day, we had that one evening, on Friday and Saturday, those 2 evenings, we had 228 uses of our mobile app. So the way the mobile app is set, remember, you can put in your initial money, you write down your ticket, not your ticket, but your meter number, and then you could sit in the restaurant or wherever you're at and add time to it. The bad thing about that is it doesn't turn the meter to green. It stays red. So we had 400 hours of people paying that never had to go back out to the meter. That's good. And so our officers go by and they have a little device that'll say, even though it's flashing red, oh, we see that it's paid, but it doesn't show it's paid on the meter. So some people could get a bad, they might think they're beating the system. Other people are when they see a zero, but they're in fact being paid for. So the system's working. We're not punitive. We're just trying to make sure that everybody's paying. And I think as people get more involved, obviously the app is starting to work and take on. So it doesn't charge any extra money at that time. It's still $1 per hour, and they pay a fee to use the app. But so we are out there enforcing. And again, if we had 0 tickets, that'd be great. That means everybody's putting their quarters into the meter. So I just wanted to clear that up since Mr. Zook brought it up, and I'm sure he'd appreciate knowing that there are other things out there other than what it looks like in your eyes.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Any other miscellaneous?
No, thank you.
Madam Clerk?
Nothing this evening, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. City Attorney?
Nothing, thank you.
Stewart?
Yes.
Mr. Bixon?
I'm ready.
Councilmember Bixon?
I've got a positive and a negative. I'll start with the negative because it's better to end on a positive, I think. As I talked to Blaine this morning, Terry Street and equivalent streets where I live had another day without power. And they claim a tree went down, but it seems like it's always a tree, it's always a squirrel on the same streets. So DTE comes here and says they care and they're doing what they can, and year after year they don't do anything, they don't care. And I just think it's outrageous. We live in an affluent community that everybody has to have a generator, or because we don't have regular power. And I just think it's outrageous. I know that there's really nothing the city can do, but for the sake of my neighbors, I needed to come in here and let everybody know and rant a little bit. The positive is the Rah-Rah signature event. Tennis tournament starts Wednesday night. And I hear from Jerry Murphy, who's run the tennis tournament, a longtime teacher at Rochester High School, 40 years, that it's the largest draw they've ever had. So tennis is alive and well in the city of Rochester. So it's right out here, so you can come by. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Bixon. Councilmember Ray?
Yes, thank you. As with tonight, we saw an application for the Rochester Historical Commission, and I'm here to remind everyone that we are looking and accepting applications for friendly, positive people that appreciate helping a good cause and sharing and educating people on history and its preservation within the city of Rochester. I'd encourage you to sign up. It's a lot of fun. On that note, as it relates to the bicentennial, we're witnessing history, having it be the bicentennial. And it's, I have to say, it's not limited to just the city of Rochester, because unofficially, in honor of Rochester's bicentennial, Oakland University's first football game will be played on campus this fall at homecoming, October 14th at noon. So we are setting history all across the area. So I'd encourage all the Pioneers and Grizzlies to come out and start a tailgating tradition on campus. But I cannot let my Grizzly pride overtake my just absolute enthusiasm for Robert Machalka's work on the Detroit United Railway book. The website, which I gave out before at the last meeting, DetroitUnitedRailwayBook.com, is officially live. Some wonderful pictures. He spent 23 years writing this book. He's been a commissioner for 25 years on the Historical Commission. And in just 2 short days, just over the weekend, we've already had 30 people pre-register their copies of the book. So these are selling like fire station hotcakes. So I can't commend him on his effort enough on getting this done, and I'm certainly excited to see the book go to print. So
I'm excited.
reserve yours today. The first 100 copies get free shipping and autographed by the author himself. So there's only 70 left, folks. Thank you.
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem.
So is that website, is there somewhere on that we can click, like on the city website for people to go? I mean, is there a way that we could
We
get
can
that?
add that. We've been working towards that, so we'll
Okay.
by this week we'll have that up.
We were gonna, it's all on, it's all, Mr. Zook. You can check the Twitter feed. It's all over social media. It even has its own Facebook page. And actually, we've already gotten messages from people in Milford interested in preserving stations, and people like up in Flint, and so yeah, it's making a proverbial splash.
Thank you. Councilmember Cuthbertson.
Thank you. I don't have anything to sell tonight. Couple of questions. I drove by the cemetery building, the new building, and I recall in the site plan when we approved it that there was supposed to be landscaping associated with it to, better buffer it, and I didn't see where that happened.
Yeah, I can answer that. So we went out there, and because of the shade of the trees, they didn't want to put perennials around because it's not irrigated. So we did plant the tree that was planned on that. So there isn't any foundation plantings on that building planned. I don't believe that was at the planning commission either. It was more like, what can you work out? How many trees can you get in there to kind of buffer the area? And they hadn't shown the existing trees that were out there on the plan appropriately. So when we went out and looked at them, we took the opportunity to plant one ornamental to the, I guess it would be the north of it. So
Yeah,
it's a bit stark still.
Yeah, there's in no way a buffering. It's just a couple of buildings there.
That's a no. Is that what he's?
Yeah, I mean, thanks for the translation.
Yeah.
I guess I have to.
We can look at that, definitely.
Yeah. I'm curious, and this may go to a upcoming infrastructure committee meeting. We have Ludlow on, this year, like rebuild it this year, and whether or not that can be answered tonight or not. I'd like to have some kind of report on, is it going to be reconstructed, because it's late July.
I'll give you the quick answer. We're building that information and report to discuss at the infrastructure meeting, and then kind of rolling that out. So more to come. The quick and immediate answer is it would not be built this. It will be still potentially this fiscal year, but it would be at the end, so that we're not hitting the school schedule when the school buses are going to be going through, and that we tie it in with our sewer and the water component that we're in the process of applying for.
Councilmember Cuthbertson.
I will reserve my comment on that for the infrastructure committee meeting. With respect to the brownfield meeting that is being scheduled, I've said this for a couple of months now. I think the sooner we can publish an agenda and a draft brownfield policy, the better, so that council can consider it, and so can the Brownfield Commission. I do not want to attend a meeting that says, gee whiz, guys, we're going to be doing a lot of work here. That'll be great, and we'll come up with some policies and talk about it again sometime. We need to have a working meeting, and to do that, out of fairness to that process, we're a week from that meeting. We need an agenda. We need a draft policy and some time to look at it. If we're just going to get an agenda that says we're gonna chat and we'll kind of hand one out when we get there, I won't be attending the meeting, because it's just, this needs to be a meeting where people have the opportunity to think about this and be prepared to have, a productive and actual meeting that isn't a meet and greet. So I'm sure that's in process, and I'm just not aware of it, but I just, if I don't have an agenda and a policy and I'm not there, you all know why. So, thank you.
Thanks. Councilmember Peterson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I had asked for a list of the setbacks for the city. I don't know if we got that all in one spreadsheet form. It was a while back. Of all the properties and the
Zoning district
all the
setbacks?
zoning districts and the setbacks. Okay, all right. Next, I don't know, I think it's been, I don't know the way it's supposed to be, but the corner of Main and University, the traffic crossing sound is really faint, can barely hear it. And then I wanted to know, is there a way that we can get a breakdown of all the bicentennial donations so far and where that's at, and an update on that project, cost-wise as well?
Yep, we have good news on that project.
That's good.
Yeah,
Okay.
really good. Yep, we will get that to you. We'll get it to the whole council.
All right, and I just wanted to thank City of Rochester Hills again for inviting all the communities to the Parliamentary Procedures and Open Meetings Act seminar.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, I have several things. First, I want to thank the DPW for being so diligent. When there's trees or anything on the curb, they're there. In fact, my neighbor, they cut down some cherry trees. I'm like, oh, that would be just great wood. And I'm like, Jeff, go get me the wheelbarrow because DPW's going to be here. And sure enough, I get my one load and DPW's there, so I'm running like a mad woman. No, they can't hear me. But I was a mad woman. They stopped. But so thank you, really, for all their diligent work. I really do appreciate that. And I was one of the ones that were unfortunate not to have electricity, but there was a huge pine tree that fell down on Lysander. So that was one of the reasons why we were so bummed about that yesterday. But we still have we have power on now. I love the idea of the sign-in sheet, Ms. Douglas. I think that's a really good idea. That keeps a record. It keeps us flowing. And stating your name and address. I like that idea, so maybe that's something that we can come forth. When we do ask questions up here, a lot of times we know part of the answer, but you always learn something. And typically they're driven because someone else has asked the question, and we want them to know, the audience, that we want them to know that we're paying attention. It's the only recorded place they get it. There's no, other place than here is, really getting the answers. So I think that's important. Sister City, are you talking about that?
I'm going to mention.
Okay. Business development, we did a lot of work on the survey, so that's coming soon. So take a, look at that for the businesses. The Paint Creek Trailways, we are doing the Labor Day walk, so we're very excited to announce that. Movie in the Moonlight sidewalk sales, very successful. One of the things that we ask for, and maybe it's coming, is all the land and property that the city owns. We did that with part of our tour, but we didn't have that piece of all the parts that we own. Because there's even some pieces of land that are, just kind of weird that we own. So I'd love to have that sometime soon. I will be out of town August 16th through the Labor Day, so I'm going to be missing that fourth Monday meeting in August. I had a post on what your first job was on Facebook, and it was crazy. I got hundreds of comments on that. It was so cool. And for the historic, maybe take a look at that. I had some people sent pictures that their father worked on Crittenton Hospital. They have pictures of some of those originals. People that worked at Arnold Drug Store. You probably don't even know what Arnold Drug Store if you're not an old Rochester. It's where the karate place is right now. And so those are the things that you want to come and celebrate. That's part of our 200-year history. The other thing is Crittenton also is celebrating a big anniversary. It's their 50th anniversary coming up, and we're going to be celebrating that. Can you remind me what the date is?
August 15th.
August is the 15th, August 15th. So that's a big threshold for them as well. So congratulations on that.
I'll do mine and then go to public comment. Movies in the Moonlight, past 2 movies have been great. We do have a special meeting July 31st, so we will be looking for an agenda and a follow-up concerning Councilmember Cuthbertson's questions. Sister City met. I will be providing the minutes and a summary to council at the next council meeting. I want to invite everybody to the ribbon cutting for the monument. I am so excited. We're doing so well on selling all that stuff, so it's going to be great. I scheduled it for 10 a.m. I've gotten lots of great feedback on doing it that early in the morning. That way people have, I know people are like, oh, this is great, because then they can get other stuff done. So I'm really excited. We are also celebrating and honoring businesses and certain people in the community that have served us for a long time. And that's going to be taking place at the second meeting in August. So if your business has been around 50 years, 100 years, I want to do a special proclamation for the first mayor for the city. So all of those are going to take place at that city council meeting. I have asked some of them if they would like to come to the monument cutting, ribbon cutting, if they would like to be recognized there. I think that would be another kind of second recognition, so I'm working on that process. For the resident out there that sends me this little letter, this is no return address or signed. I received it, thank you very much, and I will pass it. It's a grass cutting, so I will pass it along to the people that need it. Any other miscellaneous public comment this evening? Oh, I need consideration of a request for a closed session for City Council to consult with legal counsel regarding trial and settlement strategy for pending litigation.
So moved.
And to go back into open.
Yep.
Yes.
Councilmember Peterson, support by the Mayor Pro Tem. Madam Clerk, the roll.
Dalton?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
Hutchinson?
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes.
Ray?
Yes.
We'll take a 5-minute recess.
You know, I was gonna say, for the monument, we went to the park over the weekend,